You guys hearing that?
Come to me, the men in the dark said. Come to me, the men in the dark said.
I swear I heard that. Bobo here from BrassReel Brothers. Thanks for coming back in for some more hot, fresh popcorn and another installment of a BrassReel Halloween! So for this last Thursday threat for Halloween, I'm doing the mostly unheard of ghost story, The Innkeepers.
Under a blanket of blue.
Directed by Ty West, starring Sarah Paxton and Pat Healy. So if you guys don't know who Ty West is, Ty West did that movie House of the Devil. The first time I saw it was probably 6 or 7 years ago on Netflix. Takes place in the 70s. It feels like the 70s even, the way it looks. Definitely a good psychological horror film that has some payoff. It's not just psychological horror. And this one does the same. And I don't know if you guys have seen that movie You're Next. That's a great modern day slasher. But Ty West is the first guy that gets picked off in the movie at the dinner table. He also did Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever, which that movie it's fun for what it is. It's a Cabin Fever series. And he's done some stuff since then, The Sacrament, and nothing has stuck out to me like House of the Devil and The Innkeepers. The Innkeepers to me is his best work. I love this movie, and from what I understand, it wasn't really something that he had planned out forever. He got the idea from them visiting this hotel called the Yankee Peddler Inn. And this hotel in real life was supposedly haunted. So much for the fact that it was pretty hard for them to get permission to film there, and even after they got permission, the people that owned the hotel were like, you have to be out by this date. It all just had like a weird feeling around it. If you watch the behind the scenes on the Blu-ray, which I got right here, and they talk about all that stuff on the behind the scenes, how like pretty much the entire staff and cast were convinced that this hotel was really haunted. Ty West himself says he doesn't really subscribe to that stuff, but he said most of the cast and the crew were like firmly sure that this place was haunted. Once they got permission to film there, they just got everything on the fast track. They fleshed out the script fully. They got out all the cast and everything solidified as far as who to hire, crew included. Like I said, they had a very small amount of time they could film at this hotel, but he wrote the script for the hotel. But it focuses on these two characters, a guy and a girl, and they work at the hotel. They're people that run the front desk and they have to restock towels and do stuff like that. It's a very small hotel in a small town. But as a side hobby, they like all this like paranormal investigating stuff. In fact, the guy has a little website that he runs about the hotel, trying to, spark some more lore about the place. Because in this movie, the hotel is supposedly haunted too. And a lot of the movie, it focuses on their relationship and their fun banter back and forth. In fact, this movie doesn't really feel like a horror movie for a little bit of the time that you're watching. Like by the cover of this thing, it looks really, really scary, like right off the bat. It's just got great imagery on the cover, so it makes you want to watch it. That's why I bought the Blu-ray to begin with, years ago. And not only is this movie like tame when you start watching it, but nothing's really going on. And not that it's slow, I don't mean that at all, because it's paced fine. You're watching the movie, but nothing's actually happening. Like I said, not slow, it's just not giving you what you thought you were going to be getting by looking at the cover. So a lot of this movie, like at least the first 30 to 45 minutes, it's a lot of just hanging out with these two characters. Doing their daily duties, restocking towels and stuff like that, gossiping about the guests. There's the occasional moment where it gets a little creepy and a little tense here for a minute, but it doesn't last very long at all. In fact, a lot of this movie seems even like a indie art house or a rom-com film at moments. Especially because of the soundtrack. The soundtrack doesn't seem all that dark and threatening or anything. It just kind of has sort of this, almost a Harry Potter-ish vibe at moments. Like just not childish, just you have to watch it to see what I'm talking about. But it doesn't seem like a real scary soundtrack for now. But everything we've seen up at this point has all been daytime, and basically I guess they're getting ready for the sun to go down to be there overnight. Again, this very small hotel in a small town. So with the way the music is like that, it's daytime, nothing's really been going on, you've just been hanging out with these two people, it kind of makes you let your guard down. Even though you should be aware of those kind of things in horror movies by now, not to let your guard down, this one like forces you to let your guard down. you're not really bored by it at this point. You're just not really seeing what you thought you were gonna see. So therefore, it like forces you to let your guard down. Now you're just like, what's up with these two characters? And like I said, most of the time I can see that stuff coming, but this one got me. I'm gonna give you a couple small spoilers from this just because that's really the only way to talk about the movie and how effective it is, because that's kind of part of the movie, is you having your guard down and then all of a sudden something happening and you're like, oh! As soon as the sun goes down, very subtly the soundtrack starts to change and switch over closer to this more dark, creepy, ominous tone. And it's not like a full-on just switch. There is a significant difference right when the sun goes down, and within a few minutes of the sun being down, the music is nothing like it was in the beginning of the film or the first 30, 40 minutes you've been watching this movie. Now you're starting to feel pulled in, which was really smart because you got your guard let down, you feel a little vulnerable, you're like, all right, nothing's going on with these two characters. But when something does start going on, it starts just reeling you in a little bit. And it's just enough to keep you like, all right, this is a little creepy. Not gonna lie. Not scaring me, but it's a little creepy. And part of that has to do with the way this hotel is. And the beauty about this movie is it's very inspired by The Shining, but it's not The Shining at all. It's not trying to be The Shining, it just was very much inspired by The Shining. You could tell that Ty West liked that movie. But the way they do all the like hallway scenes in this, where they're like moving down the hallway slowly, and just all the creepy aesthetics of the hotel in general is awesome. You can tell why they wanted to film there. None of this was made. This was how the hotel was. What you see in this movie is the hotel. There's this story of Madeline O'Malley, who was a girl that got killed in this hotel supposedly, and that's really all anybody kind of knows. It's just there was a girl killed in the hotel and it's haunted. Well, at some point she's by herself as far as the only one awake. Her friend, that's the other co-worker, went to go take a nap. I guess they go on shifts, and she's by herself looking at the security feed of the hotel, starting to see a couple little creepy things that make her a little cold sweaty, but nothing that could really be chalked up to anything. But the movie basically has just been teasing you. Anytime you hear any sort of creepy thing or see anything sort of creepy happening, it's just like a balloon blowing up just for a second and then it just deflates itself. Like I said, it's not slow, just nothing's actually happening yet. But she has to do little things like take out the trash or just go outside for some reason, and every time she comes back into the hotel, it's creepier and creepier. And it starts to get you feeling a little tense as an audience member too. You're just like, all right, what's gonna happen here? And it just shows more of the Ty West stuff and how good Ty West understands what this movie needed to be, because he's just slowly reeling you in. Like, imagine if you went to a hotel. You wouldn't just walk in there and everything all of a sudden just, oh my God, get it away. No, it would be a very slow burn creep on you that would either like drive you mad or slowly but surely something bad end up happening. Like, look at the way they did it in The Shining.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in.
Which is pretty much everybody's favorite haunted hotel movie. But I gotta say, this one, it doesn't have to compete with The Shining because it's something completely different. It has its own thing going on, but it definitely belongs in the same ballpark as The Shining, in my opinion. This is the main spoiler I'm gonna give you right here, but like once she ends up going to take a shower because she's starting to get creeped out about some stuff, like one thing happened to where she's trying to listen for sounds on her headphones and she's walking and she starts hearing this piano music, and then she starts walking towards the piano because she's like, we have a piano in here, and the closer she gets to the piano, the closer she gets, the louder the music is, then it stops. And then she sees these two keys just go down on the piano right in front of her. It's very effective and it gets you for a second. It's the first time the movie actually makes you just like, whoa! But because of all that, she goes back and takes a shower. And when she's taking this shower, and then it's like, again, now, slowly but surely, Ty West has pulled you in, and now you're kind of like, all right, what's happening here? Because I'm a big nail biter. She goes to lay down, I guess, to take a nap too. And man, that part, it's just got you on pins and needles, and there's just a moment of imagery with the music, everything involved. It's just perfect, and the way that you've kind of had your guard down a little bit, and you're expecting something, but not this. Paranormal supernatural stuff doesn't normally scare me all that much, but they did a great job of it in this one. Ty West nailed it. He knew exactly what he was doing with this, and it works for me. Normally I like the stuff that's a little bit more believable, grounded in reality, like someone doing something to somebody else, as far as it really scaring me. I have fun and love all those other movies. I did the review of The Gate, The Howling, Fright Night, all those things are supernatural. I'm just talking about what normally scares me is more of the grounded in reality stuff. This one got me. This one scares me. This one makes me like, all right, maybe there are ghosts. Shining did the same for me. But now she's freaking out. She tries to explain this stuff to her friend that works there who's sleeping too. He's not really fazed by it. He's all tired. He's like, all right, I'll check it out in the morning. And he's chalking it up to her having a dream. But then the next day, this creepy old man comes in wanting a hotel room, a specific room, room 353, where he had his honeymoon. And he's really weird and really creepy and really old. Looks like he's about to croak over right there. And it seems a little strange he wants to spend the night in room 353, where he had his honeymoon, since we saw a dead bride earlier. Well, she ends up renting out a room out to him and everything, and they end up getting drunk. And also, Kelly McGillis, that played the love interest in Top Gun, she plays like a old actress in this who's also a medium. You know, she can contact the other side. And she's also been kind of just acting like something's a little strange up with this place. And they're making you think that something's a little strange with her. But they just show her coming back in and going back upstairs. I guess she's in town for some sort of acting convention. But that's how we get to see them both getting drunk downstairs. And as they get drunk, they decide to go check out the basement a little bit more once they're getting drunk. And this is where they start actually making some contact a little bit. And old boy starts getting too freaked out. He's like, I want to leave, I can't handle this. Turns out he wasn't a true believer at all with this stuff, because she's like, what, we're making contact. He's like, no, this was just a way for me to try to make some money on the side. He's like, but this is freaking me out, it's too much. Because it's getting really spooky now. Like I said, the music has slowly but surely gotten darker and darker and darker. The way it looks, the imagery and everything, it's just switched without you realizing it, and it's just like, damn, this is a completely different movie than it was when I first started. But he leaves her, and now she's freaking out because she heard some stuff, they both heard stuff. So she goes upstairs to wake up Kelly McGillis, you know, because she's the medium, and she finally is like, all right, take me where you heard this stuff. And she goes down there with her. That's when she's like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. And now it's a race to leave. But she remembers the old man's up there. So man, when she goes up there, that's when it pops. That's when it gets you, man. That's when it starts going. This is one of those movies that scares you to your bones. And when I mean to your bones, it's like, it will make you think about it later. Anywhere you go into any place and you start hearing about history of it being an old building or something like that, I don't know, it did it for me. Most of the time this stuff doesn't scare me that bad. Like The Conjuring, no big deal. I didn't think it was scary. This one gets me, and I think it's the way it's filmed, the way it's paced, and the way it's done by the end of it. Like I said, by the end of it, it is really frightening. I mean, some really striking, disturbing imagery and events that are going on. And it just happens, and I mean, it really just pops, and when it goes off, it goes off. And from when you started this movie to now, by the end of this movie, completely different film than when you started watching it. But not like in the way Dusk Till Dawn did, where it just switches. This gradually turns into something different, where it's like, oh, we're watching these two characters, kind of maybe even a love story a little bit, oh, look at their banter back and forth, into something truly haunting. I love this movie. Fantastic. It is in my top haunted house ghost films, definitely in my top haunted hotel films. But there's a payoff too. I'm not going to tell you anymore. I'm not going to spoil anymore because I want you to watch it. But there is a full-on payoff. Some real stakes get brought into the situation. It's not just her seeing things or her feeling experiences or them hearing things. No, some real shit starts to go down. If you want to see a good, scary, haunted movie, watch The Innkeepers. So The Innkeepers? Oh, spooky-licious. Spooky popcorn. Well, guys, that's going to do it this episode. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for Franchise Friday. We're going to do A Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake. Yeah, if you hate that one, I'm sorry. I love it for some reason. Its own reason. It's nothing compared to the originals. But I hope y'all are still enjoying y'all's October, because I know I am. Look for BrassReel Brothers on Facebook. Look for Bobby Williams on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter, BrassReel Bobby at BrassReel. Hit that subscribe button so we can get to 200 subscribers by the end of the month. And remember, if life gives you lemons, make some.